Hello, everyone, and what the hell is wrong? It is stormy outside, and I have a red bar on YouTube. I don't know if or what I can do to fix it, but it's causing a lag in my show. I'm not liking it. I'm trying to shut down some of the stuff on my end, see if I can just deal without for a while, which means I won't have access to certain features as I shut things down to try and open up bandwidth. I'm trying not to kill the bot, but we will see. Still red. How am I coming through to you guys? How is everybody on this Monday? If it weren't for this red bar I was looking at, I'm broadcasting perfect. All of my stuff is going through fine. I was green for a few seconds. It went red. It went yellow. It went red, and it stayed there. So I'm not sure if my connection is low, the storm is messing with me, or if YouTube's messing with me. I'm really not sure. So we'll stay with that. Just let me know if we run into any problems here. Let us say good morning to Patrice Ripley and Midnight Raven, Adam K, T.A., TC Jelly Duck. Welcome to my show. How are you? We've got Adam KTC. All right, you guys are all here. Welcome. It is Monday. We will do the best we can with whatever bandwidth everybody allots me to have. And with that, today we have a game. I love my games so much. I think gaming is the way I'm gonna go for whatever time I have. Today after the show, I have to quickly get ready for an interview and figure out where the hell it is. Is it this one? It's not that one. It's this one. It's this one. Ooh, we'll get things moving. We'll figure out how things go on a Monday.
Welcome to the Great Debate.
Okay, fix that. That's why it sounded loud. Got it. Alright, everybody knows how this works. I was trying for something. I apologize, everybody. I think that may have been some of the bandwidth issue, or maybe the bandwidth issue is the reason I couldn't get everything to work properly. I was going to invite people into the green room and onto the show for one category at a time. I'm going to try that for the next show. I need one of these sodas I just knocked down. Woo! Rushing around, the kid's bus was 20 minutes late this morning. I don't know what to do other than ask you guys what is going to be first, and welcome, Angry Amish Hitman, to the show. What is today's first topic, folks? And I want some input from the chat as I'm discussing this topic. What is it that you guys have to say about either the topic or what I'm saying? I Hail the Whale comes in out of nowhere and punches that sex category. Midnight Raven agrees, and the Angry Amish Hitman wants some morning sex. Could somebody please oblige him? If we remove sexuality, or gender of sexuality, from our species, will we still have sex? Oh man. Vomit Sausage, welcome to the chat. How are you today? Privileged white male, thank you for being here. Here's a weird question, and we have some illustrations from sci-fi, and then there's what are we looking at right now. Now, I love sex. We gotta have sex. But what happens if in, say, 50 or 100 years we realize how to solve most of life's problems? Why is Sylvester Stallone and the weird guy who played basketball, why isn't that movie coming to my head? Judge Dredd, Judgment Day. What the hell is it called? Not Judge Dredd. There's another one. In that movie, they don't have sex anymore. They have virtual sex. But here's an aspect of that movie. Part of the reason they stopped having sex is it eliminated sexually transmitted diseases, some viruses, the potential of people getting sick or colds from bodily contact. Obviously, science has come to this conclusion, and we realize that bodily contact is a lot of the reason why we transmit different diseases. And, well, look at the way the culture's going. When men are trying to be feminized and women masculinized, and they're trying to equal out the two sexes to make them compete together, so the men have to compete at a lower level and the women have to compete at a higher level, and we all gotta have the same outcome, so we're all going to be the same. So eventually, scientifically, socially, morally, we could, I'm not saying we will, we could inadvertently remove sex and gender from everything and become a, damn it, words hurt me today, become a species that doesn't really differentiate between, which doesn't exist right now, along with what Jelly Duck says, non-binary doesn't exist. That's more like taking pizza off the menu every Friday at school. When you're a kid, you'll find a way to get pizza, I promise. I don't want to have sex with some gender-neutral soy creature. Well, would it be? Here's the question, though. If we as a society, if we as a people, if we as a genealogical species begin to be non-gendered or can't tell between them, will we still desire sex if those characteristics that we look for aren't there? And I've discussed this before. We all know what those characteristics are. We want boobs, we want round buttocks, we want long hair. But what if all women end up having short hair and all men have the same haircut as women, and women don't grow breasts because we don't add GMOs to our food, so then now they're more predominantly flat-chested and don't need bras again? What if the body physique becomes the same for men and women because of certain ways our society has begun to train them to be the same? Attack of the Soy Killer Beans. I've ordered a pizza to school. Hungry howdies, delicious. Gotta go to the word. I'll be over in a few minutes as soon as I'm done with the show today. I am still on a red line, but everything looks okay. I dare want... Oh! I say that and it turns green. Awesome. Everything's looking good. Guys will always be horny, and guys will suck their penis in stick their penis in any hole for pleasure. But what if you breed that out of the male species? What if what's happening right now, this huge cultural, social revolt for masculinity in men and femininity in women, what if this whole bad series about, well, they're creating sex dolls, this is horrid, this is bad, they're creating this is horrid, this is bad, all of this, oh, men shouldn't masturbate, and there is some scientific proof behind the fact that you shouldn't. There is some proof, you know, there's statistics and studies and phenomenon and all sorts of things. What if all this gets to the point where men being caught doing something becomes a crime and bred out of what our species does? And again, you stop doing something long enough, you don't use a muscle long enough, and eventually it begins to grow out. Obviously, adaptations are going to take hundreds, even thousands upon thousands of years sometimes. But what happens if a species heads in that direction? Will you always want sex if the characteristics that entice you to want sex aren't there? If the societal need for having sex disappears and starts to shun actually having sex or sexual connection, will that start to get rid of sex? Could it be bred out of a species? And what show was it? Stargate. Eventually, the Greylings or whatever they were, eventually they died, and they chose to kill themselves off because they were dying because of something they did to their species. I always try to relate that. Don't screw your species up enough to want to kill itself entirely. You know, it just doesn't make sense. Also, identify as a something with nuts. Identify as a something with nuts. I got that part. Something with nuts. Alright, I sound better on this side of the microphone. What's wrong with masturbation? There's actually a lot of things wrong with masturbation. I do it enough, I should be able to say it, right? Too much masturbation or release of a certain chemical into your brain that is known to be released when you masturbate, when you self-pleasure, mostly in men, predominantly in men, very little in women, starts to cause your body to build up proteins, which is that masturbating will lead to blindness. Well, it's a, 1 in 10,000 chance that if you masturbate on a regular basis, you'll go blind. Interesting, right? Right? Maybe it's less than that. I don't know. I remember reading that While it's not a probability, it is a possibility. So statistically, it's there. Oh, we have to get out of this topic. Can't you really go blind from masturbation too? Ugh. Yes, that's true. It is true. Apparently what happens is the gelatinous proteins in your eyes begin to build up because of a chemical release in your brain. Your eyes start to collect some of that chemical. Now here's the weird thing. When you're born, when you're a baby, your eyes never change. They can slowly gain certain fluids through the material, I think, but for the most part, they never gain or lose any fluid through your life. So the fluid in your eyes on the day you're born is the fluid in your eyes on the day you die. Period. Which is why a lot of times with eye problems, they're very difficult to correct. New technology obviously is fixing that. I don't know how I got to eye problems, but we'll go with it. I saw a trans hippo thing, so I thought I would ask. You could always go back to my previous comment about, I forget which show it was on now. It was either last Wednesday or Friday, about how if you breed out the attractiveness of somebody, is not wanting them still wrong? I mean, this fat positivity thing is disgusting. That was to Jelly Duck. Oh, okay. Okay, we need another topic, guys. I'm going to just ramble for a while if you guys don't just tell me what to click on. Tell me what to click on. The cops have given up. The shit... Wait, that's the bot? No. The shit in your eyes blows out your cock. What? No. No, the shit in someone else's eyes blows out my cock. What are you talking about? We need to try and keep this show a little cleaner, maybe. Probably not. It's, that means trans hippopotamus a joke. Okay. To mainstream media. I saw that. Oh, I saw movies first. Sorry, Adam, we will do movies next. What small changes could news organizations make that would regain trust to viewers? Ooh, I want to hear the chat's input on this one. I really wanted a guest for this question. This is one of those things that I constantly think about. How could, if everybody is fake news, how could they regain the trust of people? John Sellers, tell the damn truth. Well, the news isn't supposed to tell us anything. They're supposed to bring us the truth. The problem is that people keep expecting the news to tell the truth. And that leads the news to try to tell a story. They don't need to tell a story. They need to bring the truth and read it to us. But something you vaguely see on there is, this statistic here shows this. What you see is a recent statistic in has showed that 15% more people are apt to kill themselves by poking themselves in the eye with their finger until it bleeds. I don't know. The problem I see with news is not so much that they're not telling us the truth. It's that they're not bringing us the information. They're trying to tell us the truth. And in that, they're telling us their truth. They're not bringing us facts. The news makes up stuff, so we will watch, but they also have a political agenda, which makes it propaganda. Again, they're telling us a story. It's how they see it. I don't want them to tell me a story. I don't want them to tell me the truth, because the truth is subjective to them. I want them to bring me facts. I want them to question people. I remember growing up and watching the news and seeing people get interviewed, and it was, how do you feel about this? It was 15 or 20 minutes maybe, 10 or 5, but it would be a straight sequential interview, not these cut interviews with these 5-minute points missing and you have to go back and look for the absolute context of that interview. That's not news. That's your truth. That's how you see things. That's the story you're telling. News isn't telling a story. It's the term bringing a story is finding the truth and bringing it to people. It wasn't telling a story to people about how you see the truth. They want us to think the way they want us to, not on our own thoughts. It's the Mandela effect. Okay, we're going to get into the Mandela effect on a Saturday night show in depth, because we've been talking about this on and off for several weeks now. again, with mainstream media, I don't know what network. I even see it on the networks that some people say are more reliable or less biased. Fox. Okay? I see it on some people's YouTube channels and things like that. I especially see this on the Young Turks. This is something they do predominantly. Hello, hello. What's this then? Hello, Hulk6. How you doing today? I'm not saying hot. I'm saying hawk. 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 I'm in a hawker silk loogie. Sorry. I'm gonna have fun with your name now, but thanks for coming in. If they could bring us these studies and these statistics and show us these things, that's great. And again, back to the interviews, if they could show us an interview and ask questions about the context, not the person. It's ask about what your goal is. Ask about what your intent is. Ask about what you've done to get there. Don't ask about, well, how do you feel about this movement over here that has completely nothing to do with it? Give me information. Why are we seeing... oh, crap. Hold on. I gotta shut my furnace off. It's gonna have a loud blower. Stupid thing. That felt embarrassing. I have to turn my furnace off. I have it set for 64. 64. Crap. Well, the news agencies, when they interview someone, it used to be they interview them and ask them for the context of or what's written in or why they did this certain thing. And now it's turned into them asking people what it is they still, or what it is they feel, or why it is they're doing things, or what belief they're behind. I want some truths. I want them to bring me information. The news is supposed to bring unbiased information. Stop telling me the truth, because that just tells me you're telling me your truth. Can we blame Wall Street Journal? We can blame Wall Street Journal for a lot of things, but they're not in it on their own. They're absolutely not. It's everybody on their own. They think if they can spin things a certain way, they can identify with a certain part of the audience. And if they identify with that part of the audience, then they'll get more people watching their show. That's all that is. Alex Jones is the same thing. He wants to bring you news, but he's telling you the truth, right? Alex Jones is telling you the truth. So in him telling you the truth, he's bringing you the story as he sees it. He's not always bringing you the facts and showing them to you. He's just explaining them to you. I'm not bringing you news. I'm bringing you entertainment. Some of what I say could be false, could absolutely be wrong. I'm not trying to show you information. I'm trying to entertain you with information. There's a big difference. Alex Jones is trying to bring people information. He's trying to bring out things that other people aren't seeing. So as soon as you call yourself news, Alex Jones can watch whatever porn he wants to watch. I think it's funny that it's a big issue. Like the fact that Donald Trump sleeping with women is a big issue. It's not against the law unless his wife wants to hold it against him. Right? Isn't that how that goes? Excuse me. Ginger ale giving me gas. Jeez. What could they do? Bring us a news. Stop telling us a story. Right? Does anybody disagree with that? Don't tell us the story. Bring us the facts. I think that's some consensus I've come to in my own head. It argues with itself all the time. It may change its mind later. But we need another topic. I believe movies was on the agenda, and we are going to go there next. Trap Flaps. See Andy Worski. We'll just cite resources there. Movies. Does being in a movie immortalize the person or the character or both? Obviously, the clear-cut answer is all of the above, individually and combined. But let's discuss it again, let's bring this up. Let's use some terrible examples. In the movie The Hulk, to me, the Hulk is somewhat immortalized, but because it's not always a certain character, or that oftentimes he's more the Hulk than the character, and the Hulk stands out, I can't always think of his name. I can't always think of the character or the person's name. I remember the Hulk. So the Hulk is what became immortalized in my head. And the Hulk is what's on the covers. And it doesn't always show the character. It shows the Hulk. So that's what gets immortalized. But on the other hand, with the character like... why can't I think of anything today? My mind is selectively blank. I'm thinking of Notting Hill and the redhead, and she was also in other things. Why am I blanking out so bad? My mind is already ready to be asked questions and answer, and instead I'm answering questions that I asked. I'm confusing myself today. Depends. Some actors play themselves. That's true. Usually in smaller videos or things in like Roseanne. Like Roseanne will stand out. That'll be immortalized as Roseanne. You'll remember Roseanne Barr, even though that wasn't her necessarily her name in the show. I think it was Connor in the show, but I remember Barr. The Crow. Okay, I remember the Crow. I forget who played him. That goes with a lot of superheroes. Like, you'll remember the superhero, especially for Spider-Man. Any of my kids, they say superhero, you say Spider-Man, they'll never remember. You know, it takes a minute to remember Peter Parker, let alone any of the people that have played him. So at that point, when a character jumps in that role, they're not being immortalized. They're not. What are they getting out of it? If they jump into that role, they're jumping into that persona. If you play Superman now, okay, you might remember Dean Cain because he did other things, but if you play the Superman, you're remembered as playing Superman. You're not remembered as so-and-so who played Superman, unless you were one of the first. I'm not going to remember the guy's name from Ant-Man. Sorry. My memory's not doing so well today. I'm not going to remember characters who played certain things unless it was something that stands out. So it is both, and it is neither, and it is all and none of the above. You all win. It's the fifth element. You love The Crow, huh? The Crow was good. The old ones. Obviously, you love The Crow because I want to say one of your images is cut from the movie. To be honest, Robert Downey Jr. will be remembered as Iron Man and Heath Ledger as the Joker. Okay, but how well is everybody going to remember that in the future when these movies play through? When I watch older movies, I remember Doctor Who. I don't remember the characters that played each one. When I watch, or that's not quite movies, but when I watch older things, I may not remember the person's name who played the character. Maybe on MASH, I remember Alan Alda showing up in the titles. But other than that, I don't remember the characters on these old shows. I remember watching the show. If something's going to stand out to you, what part of that is going to stand out? How do you get remembered? Like, am I going to be remembered as a NumbedSkull? Someday somebody will figure out my name, but they'll never care because I'm the NumbedSkull. That's the point of the NumbedSkull. Christopher Reeves is Superman. Christopher Reeves, Dean Cain kind of made a name for himself, but that was because of Lois and Clark. Wasn't that Dean Cain and Lois and Clark? Yeah. Well, it's happened with some of the cast of the original Star Wars. And again, it gets confusing. It's hard to tell the difference, but sometimes you wonder, why do people get into these professions that they do? Why would someone want to go for president? If you don't make it, nobody remembers you. Somebody might remember you for a few years here and there. You're written down in history somewhere, but nobody remembers you. If you're not on Parliament, does anybody remember you? Hell, if you are in Parliament, does anybody know who you are? What makes someone stand out in history? And we look back and we see King Tut and we think President Washington, but then tell me the 13th president. Can you sit there and quote them all off to me? Are they really that important? The first and the current? So when you do that, does this really immortalize anyone? What have we done? What as a society have we done that immortalizes the people other than the first of doing something? The Wright brothers, the first to run an engine on an aircraft and fly. Ford, the first car built by Henry T. Ford. Washington started the United States with... What do we remember? We remember the first and the current, right? How do you get immortalized? Current gets forgotten. You got to be the first to do something. You got to get out there. Not necessarily. Hope nobody immortalizes Theresa May. Well, again, think about it. Was she the first? She's the current. She'll be remembered now for a while. She'll be in history. But she won't be immortalized for what she's done. I know it started out as a simple yet weird question, but I wanted to start at the, what do you guys realize, and then look back. Who do we immortalize now? We immortalize maybe gods from old Greek mythology. We immortalize stories and first attempts at things that are cool. Light bulbs, electricity, space travel. That's what's going to be remembered. That's what's going to be immortalized. The first to do something. The people that got out there and did things first and tried things. And yet, nobody's going to remember the first person, the first trans person in the military. I really don't think. So, I don't know. Seemed like a good question to ask. Now, that's all I have for what you guys have given me. We need ourselves another topic. First or enough, I think. First or enough? First is enough, maybe? You want to be the first to do something. Let's go to Mars. Who wants to be the first on Mars? I want to be the first man in the United States Space Force flying out past the ends of... Theresa May is already immortalized. Yeah, as a sham, maybe. I don't know. As a retard. See? I'm not an idiot. She is. We need another topic. I'm drinking ginger ale because I ran out of white birch beer. Damn. Oh, you guys can't see me fake looking at watches. Never mind. I'm going to have to get something that moves around over here. La, 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 la. Like Leo didn't get a famous for one movie, but now he got a load and people remember him. What? Like Leo. Oh, Mr. DiCaprio. Yeah, but will he be remembered? When all of us are dead and gone, and the generations that exist now are dead and gone, and technology has advanced to a point where the movies and the DVDs and the VHSs and everything we've already seen is gone, what will be immortalized? What will be remembered? Do you remember the guy's name? I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head, but a millionaire invented a female's bra in the 1940s for a film to help accentuate the breasts in the film. I can't remember what his name is, but he'll be immortalized for creating that unless it gets forgotten or, goes away. Again, removing GMOs and hormones from things will cause people to stop growing so quickly and so immensely. And then men won't look at it anymore. And we'll see what happens with society. No, we won't. We'll all be dead. Rose should have moved over. There was room on that for two. No, he was supposed to die. That's what men do. He was trying to swim for shore. He didn't know where it was. Controversy. Oop, clicking the wrong buttons. Are those taking low wages for menial work driving down the benefits offered by employers? I'm going to take a drink while you think about this, and I can't type for shit today. For fuck's sake. That's okay. I can't talk for shit any day. It'll be okay. Now I'm going to have burps later. I like soda. Alright. Here's a weird question. This is obviously controversy. Now I've been saying it funny for so long I can't say it. This is a controversy because a lot of complaint about people coming into America and other countries is they'll come in and they'll work for less as long as they can get away with working, and then they send some of that money back to their home country to help provide for their family, which is sort of understandable, but still depletes from the economy in a few different ways. And you guys can agree or disagree with me on this, but when you bring people in that are willing to take less or that you're not required to give as much, this kind of hurts them because obviously they don't get a lot, but they do get what they need. They're not living on the same level as Americans who are used to having cable and cell phone and internet. They just need to get by with a job and a paycheck, some food, a place to live. They live at a lower level than we do, so the amount of money they get, they don't need as much as we do, or as we think we do. Again, going back to the way we discuss necessity versus actual necessity. If you at a job want to get employees, there's a way to do it. You have to incentivize them to come. Well, it depends on what that incentive is going to be. If you're in an area where people are poor and they just want money, all you have to do is swing money in their face and go, here, money for work. I need that, I'll work. And that's my output. I get handed a job today with no real strings attached. Cool. You got money, I work. You give me money, I come to work. So long as that deal is upheld, we'll have a bargain. If I have something a company really wants, they're going to be willing to give me a little extra to get that as opposed to another company. Do I have something that a company wants? Well, a lot of people don't work. So is me wanting to work hard, is me being diligent and prompt, is this worth the company offering me something extra for? If I'm always on time and I show up for my 90 days and do nothing wrong, they're going to offer me my benefits. And my benefits are going to range depending on what they can afford to offer their employees. And they're hoping that their benefits incentivize me to stay there and be a goal-worthy investment for them. Not enough people were interested in the arena. Oh, that sucks. Okay, I'm back. The battle has queued. Okay, what have I missed? What have I missed? You guys are all fighting while I talk about a controversy. Okay. I tell a lot of people that we are in a employer market. What we used to be in about 10, 15, even 20 years ago especially, was a employee market. What this means to me is that if you go to a store, it's supply and demand. If you go to a store and you're looking for tomatoes and there's not a lot of tomatoes and you notice the price has gone up on them, they can make more money on that tomato because you want it and they don't have a lot, so people are going to be after it. They're going to get a better price for it. If there's a lot of tomatoes and a few people want them, the price has to go down to get more people to want to grab the tomato. When you work a job, if you want to get the best out of it, you shop your employers. Well, if all of the employers are offering the same thing, well, here's minimum wage, minimum wage, minimum wage, minimum wage, then the one employer who offers that little extra is who you're going to go with. Very, very few employers are beginning to offer that little extra, or it's, hey, we'll offer you that extra, but you're not allowed to work anywhere else for this. You're only allowed to make this amount of money outside of work. You can't do this on social media. You're not allowed to do this. Don't link our website. Sign this paper, sign this paper, sign this paper. The more you're going to make, the more strict the company's going to be about you making that money. Now, in the old market, I could walk out and pick up 3 or 4 jobs. And I could go from one to the next if I wanted to, because the jobs would continue to offer me more money because of the abilities I had in the previous employment that I had. Oh, you know how to do this, you know how to do this, you know how to do this. We'll offer you an extra 5 cents. We'll offer you an extra 10 cents. But 5 and 10 cents isn't that much, you guys say. It's not. But it's a lot. 25 cents an hour is $10 a week. And what can you get for that amount of money is obviously changed. So 10 cents a week used to be a pretty decent raise or a pretty decent hourly increase, whereas 10 cents today, you're looking at your boss going, I got to deal with this for a year. This is my raise for the next 24 months. 10 cents? That's ridiculous. No, that's actually, it was a lot. It was an awful lot. It's money has decreased in value. So how does this affect the topic at hand? You have people coming in that aren't accustomed to making what we make, that aren't accustomed to the values that we hold, they're not after the phone, the cable, and all of this other stuff that's got cost. We've all been accustomed to going to the store and picking out all of these tomatoes and buying them regularly. And these new customers are coming in the store and they don't want the tomatoes. So they're not wasting their money on them. They're going to get what they need and then they're leaving. Like we used to. And this causes them to be easily picked for jobs because you don't have to offer them extra. You don't have to push them. They don't want it. Terrible analogy. A pack of smokes. Yeah. What about a pack of smokes? Jobs will just get less and less. Automation will, for better or worse, is the goal. I'd hate to say this. This is a terrible thing to say, but we need our money to hold more value. And the only way for our money to actually hold more value is to, one, cut interest, and two, people have to start taking pay cuts, and especially people at the top. If we force people at the top to start paying more, we're going to continue to devalue money. What they have to do is prohibit the amount that they're allowed to overall make as a percentage for the year so that they're not allowed to overcharge people. Because it's not that they shouldn't be allowed to make the money, it's that they're being allowed to overcharge for services, which is making them this amount of money. There should be limits to percentages of value made from product or services created. So if you build a box and this box talks to squirrels, and this box was built for $82, then you're allowed to make, let's say, 40%. So total percentage from production to markup is allowed to be 40%. So you're allowed to sell this box for $120. So if someone's out there selling this box for $200 and heavily profiting off of it, then they need to be taxed that amount back down to the value that they should have been allowed to sell it for. Again, that's hard to calculate. It's based on percentage of profits and analysis for income and all of that. But if you spend 5 cents making a glass of soda, should that glass of soda be $3? And you wonder how this works. Maybe it shouldn't be by individual product. It should be by cost and economy of a production of a company. So if a company produces a certain amount of money per year, only a certain percentage of that money is allowed to go to any individual owner or profiter of the company. It's weird. I have a weird think about this, and I don't think it'll work because I don't know enough. Fucking cotton, the fabric demise of our lives. Sure, not gonna happen. Sadly, they won't give up their profits. I don't want them to give up their profits. I think that they should be limited as to the ability to make profit. So if your company makes $100 billion a year and you're only allowed to make, let's say, 5% of the company's profit for any individual, obviously it would vary and scale depending on size and scope of the company. But if you're given a limit as to the percentage that can be paid out to any one person, you start to go, we can't pay out that much. Where else can we diversify this? We have to do something. Okay, let's pay out this for our employees. If they get forced to not be able to spend money in certain places, then they may be forced to reallocate it or rethink the spending. But let's put more in advertising. Okay, you put more in advertising, you create jobs for advertisers. People are only allowed to make a certain amount from their company over that percentage of that year. And again, it gets controlling. I don't want to do that. I don't know exactly what the right way would be. That's hard to decipher. Somebody pick another topic, or I will keep rambling about taking money from companies. Tell me why you need 10 boats and $8 billion that you're never going to spend. And I can understand wanting to be rich and want 8 boats and the cost of probably having employees to run those boats and the houses and everything. Well, if you have to pay out a whole bunch more employees to run your shit. You're hiring more employees. I'm good with that. But why do you still need bank accounts full of money you're never going to use and is always going to be taxed on the pass down? It just does not compute. Topics. Capitalism. I love capitalism. Don't get me wrong. If it were total free market capitalism, they wouldn't be trying to make sure they acquire enough money to survive whatever the government intends to do them. Because honestly, in my mind, if I started making money, my first thought would be, how much can I make before the government starts fucking me over? How bad are they going to fuck me over? I'm going to pile up as much as I can until they fuck me over. Like in What the Fuck or Fuck the World. Would it stand to reason that if the world was bombarded with an ice age, we would advance tech to adapt? Would we all die? What happened before? How about some historical context? Because, damn, I can remember certain things today. Did you know that in the 1600s, I want to say it was, we came out of a small ice age? 1600s. A lot of people died in that era. It was cold. We are overdue for a cooling of the planet, but because of our human efforts to evolve and advance, we may have postponed this. But here's a weird question. We're all worried about global warming. What happens if we start to try and deteriorate the amount to which we're contributing to global warming and we're snapped into a cooling period? Yeah, there would be some death, but humans are at a stage where we can adapt to an extended snow. I'm assuming extended. Can we, though? Vomit Sausage, I want you to consider this. In order for the human species to survive during an ice age, we would have to move close to the equator. Think about the population of the planet right now. As we're encroaching on 8 billion people on the planet, imagine if 8 billion people all of the sudden were sent into a quick ice age. We're going to lose food, we're going to lose crops, we're going to lose the ability to sustain the current population. Our fuel and our ability to heat and cool and plumb the current population will be depleted. Anybody that runs on public water has drilled wells. These things will fail. Whereas the temperature right now, you can go a couple feet below ground and it averages off. If you hit an ice age, that ground is going to freeze farther down because it'll have longer periods of colder temperatures. You're going to lose a lot. It would stand to reason that 90% or more of the Earth's population of humans would die. It would stand to reason that a very, very large amount of the population of all animals will die. Because it's happened before. What would happen from there on? Could we advance enough tech to not lose 90%? Could we? Could we heat homes in the area even where I live in? If we hit an ice age, how many people where I live would survive in the Northeast? Out of millions of people, you might have hundreds survive. If you're lucky. With current population and tech, at least 90%. Yeah, I think 90% of the people will die. Think about the technology that we have. If we hit an ice age, and our electricity, our food sources, our groceries, our travel abilities, our heating, our cooling, our water, our sewers. You're looking at pandemics of disease. You're looking at people dying just of cold that aren't able to heat themselves. They'll be lighting their houses and all their possessions on fire trying to stay warm, and they will run out. You're going to be looking at gangs of people doing all they can to fight, and you're going to see populations just dwindle as it continually gets colder, faster and faster. Is it lagging for anyone else or just me? I am green on the board, green on the provider. Everything looks green over here. Sorry if it is lagging. Hopefully it's not me. I live on the northeast coast and people die every year from cold. Yeah, they die every year from cold. I wondered, we keep talking about global warming, and I've looked into global warming. I've looked into, historically what's happened during hot and cold periods of the earth and what happens to the population. And if we hit a massive ice age like one of the previous ones we've had, not only will a lot of people die going into it, many people will die through it, and people will die coming out of it because of the cataclysms that come with an ice age. Ice sheets that move across continents, wiping out entire areas thousands of miles long, hundreds of miles wide. Mexico will be saying, build the wall against Americans. You're very right. It's backwards as that is. We'll build the wall. We'll hit an ice age and everybody will be trying to go that way. No, sorry, you wanted wall. You stay out. That was a horrible Mexican accent. Terrible. It stands to reason that should we go into an ice age, as soon as people begin to die and we realize the things that we have aren't enough, the technologies that are sort of being developed will be pushed harder. And those who push these technologies, let's say an energy source that can self-sustain, does it exist? Does Tesla right? Nikola Tesla, was he right? Are we capable of technologies that would sustain energy for long enough periods for us to make it through an ice age? I'll take that risk. I only hope that, obviously, any cataclysm that happens, whether it be a world war or an ice age, I'm at the point where I realize, should it happen in the rest of my lifetime, that would be the end of my lifetime, whatever cataclysm we come into in my mid-30s already, realizing that as you reach 40s and 50s, you hit a danger period for the possibility of succumbing to many things. Also, as there's more and more people, I realize that I'm closer and closer to populations that could kill me. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. I don't know why. We'll just keep it in mind. How many topics have we done? 2, 3, 4, 5. We've done 5. If I haven't scared anyone off with my demise and propagations of doomsday environments as they come forth to us, I honestly don't think it'll be us that kills ourselves. I think it'll be the planet that kills most of us. Let's put that out there. Rewards, says Vomit Sausage. Rewards we will do. What type of reward does one get from celibacy? So this is interesting. A couple weeks ago, I brought forth the fact on a Sunday that a 108-year-old lady was the oldest documented lady to die a virgin. And one of her comments before she died, obviously, as an old woman who hasn't lost her virginity, is I never seemed to have... It seemed like something that would have taken up a lot of time, and I didn't have time for that, or something along with those. NumbedSkull, no, enjoying it as usual. Oh, awesome. The way things are going, the next disaster will be another war. Do you really think we'll make it to a war? I honestly think we're gonna piddle-paddle around these small wars, but I don't think we're gonna have a large enough war that'll offer retrospect to those who survive it. You know what I mean? If we have a real war, it'll offer retrospect to those who lived through it. Those now calling for 9/11 to not be memorialized because it may offend somebody, what does that mean? How are we not supposed to represent something in the country? But back to rewards. 108-year-old lady died without riding the pole. It makes you kind of wonder, what kind of reward would you get from celibacy? What could you gain in life by, like she said, almost, not wasting your time on being with someone or having sex or having kids? What more could you get done if your focus in life was situated on yourself and not anything else, what could you do? I mean, personally, at 35, I've spent long amounts of time somewhere in or around the things that would defy celibacy. And I've spent much longer in search of those things, or working towards those things, or working to make those things stay where I'm accustomed to. Not being falsely accused of rape. Hey, there's that. I didn't rape anybody. I'm still a virgin. Like a virgin. Ooh. I can't sing the barriers line. I don't know. What? I personally couldn't tell you what it's going to be like to die a virgin. I could call people in that I know. I think I even have one family member who's got half of that number under her belt and intends to stay that way. And I didn't understand it when she told me, and I still don't. Doesn't make sense. You're kind of eliminating one of the... And here's another thing. Are you religious? If you're religious and you're confined to celibacy, aren't you kind of eliminating one of the pleasures that supposedly God gave you to be able to have? Everything else that you indulge in is wrong, but you're supposed to indulge in the pleasures that God gave you, like a man and a woman consummating a marriage. Isn't that what the Bible says? So shouldn't that inherently be something you're after? So how is it religious people are often the times the ones who are celibate? What is the reward they get from their celibacy? Is it rewarded by a sense that you're doing the right thing? Or are we finding out that you're not actually being celibate in all cases because you're playing with little boys? I don't know. What do we got going on in the chat? Wow, it sounds like someone kicked you down under. If you're offended by a 9/11 memorial, that means you needs that gas. Yep, you needs that gas. Anything else? Adam K says bones, and I'm gonna have to kill off the Nightbot because it's saying a lot of shit. What reward do you get from celibacy? Let's say if you give yourself to God to the point where you'll be celibate and not partake in any of the desires of the flesh. Is that how that goes? It's been a long time. Does that give you some sort of reward from being so stoic as to not partake in pleasure? If it does, because I couldn't answer it again, how does that reward affect you in life? Does it benefit you? Does it hurt you? At least try sex once before you die. Good idea. Guess the muzzies. What are the muzzies? Oops. What are the oh, never mind. Now I feel stupid. See? Nightbot agrees. I stupid. How long we got left? 79 seconds to talk about celibacy. Well, if you're not doing it, then 79 seconds is more than enough time to not doing it. That's right. That's what I said. Yeah. I just can't get behind the idea that... Okay, so I guess if you're religious, you're not thinking that you're inherently a mammal trying to fulfill natural mammalian necessity of procreation before extinction. So, I don't know. I still can't weigh how someone would want to be, or how someone would weigh the option of not being sexually involved in life. But I do see that it could offer itself some rewards. Possibly in way more free time. You know? What would you get done in all that time? Did she live to 108 because she was a virgin? Was it that much less stressful? I don't know. Sex is seen as unclean and it keeps them pure by not doing it. Is that so? Well, sex is unclean. When you get done with sex, tell me you don't wash up. Tell me you don't have to wipe up. Guy or girl, doesn't matter. After sex, you gotta clean yourself up. You just do. It is dirty. It's a fun kind of dirty. Nothing wrong with getting a little dirty. But you gotta wash up. There are no rewards, says Hawksilk. Hawksilk, do you know? Tell me you've lived this and say there's no rewards. I'm just offering conjecture. Just conjecture. That's all I got. I got my conjecture because nobody joined me today. But if you, any one of you pointing at random yous out there in the chat would like to be on the show, I do have space. I was going to try the Discord thing today. That didn't work. But I do have space to have up to 2 people on here. We'll do a hangout or something, depending on what I get working. As long as I don't have a schedule that interferes. Get hold of me. Type something in the chat about wherever you hang out and you might be able to get hold of me on. I'll try to pay attention. We'll get back to you. We'll get you on the show. Other than that, folks, I want to thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. Coming and chatting with me on my board. You know I put so much effort into all of this. Now, I must stop talking, get my ass cleaned up, and get to a job interview so that I have some money to do other things. Why did it just screw that up? There we go. Sorry, that's not supposed to do that. What it's supposed to do is this. Make sure you play with my buttons, folks. Thank you so much. Have a great day.